Due to the impact of COVID-19, we're currently facing a new reality with expansive change happening every single day. You might be struggling to know what to lean into right now. Jodie Baker, founder of Heal You, has created the Corona Insights podcast to help ease your information overwhelm. Jodie is consuming, filtering, and sharing vast information from many sources she's validated over years of experience, so you can quickly stay up to date with these short podcasts. Jodie uses her natural intuitive abilities to help you get up to speed on the invisible possibilities ahead and integrate the new corona reality we are living in.
Hi guys, thanks for listening to this podcast about screen slaves. Now, so many things are coming to us at the moment. The world is changing day by day. Our interpretation of the world is changing day by day. It's just so dynamic, we can barely keep up. So my thoughts are going to be quite erratic. There are things that I'm looking at through so many different lenses because the sources of information that I've developed connections with over the past, long time, like decades really, but significantly over the last 2 years since I had to heal myself from panic disorder, are all becoming so valuable right now because I know that they're trusted. They've helped me throughout my healing process. They've helped people that I've helped. I know that they're, valid source of information, but they're all a little bit different, but they're all quite similar in their essence, in their soul. So for me, I'm taking all that in, I'm processing it, and out comes some visions and some downloads of my own, and I'm just going to interpret that and share these insights with you. So the one that I just sort of had then was about screen slaves. Now, what do I mean by that? Screen slaves. So it's been a problem, obviously, over the last few years, especially when, Instagram, social media, we are screen zombies. And it's really worried me in many ways, apart from the obvious worry, which, kids and they're not developing their creativity and their eyesight and all that kind of stuff that we know. But this is going to sound a little bit out there, but I had this really strange thought one day. I wondered if a new matrix was being created, or if somebody was trying to copy the planet or make just another reality, or you wanted to just take a snapshot of how things were working right now, what better way to do it than to have all the people on the planet document every single minute of the day, how they felt or what they were looking at, what they were cooking, where they were, their thought process. Like, we have become completely obsessed with documenting every single minute of the day. Can you imagine that on the global scale? Like billions, over 7 billion uploads from all of the humans running around to this place in the sky, in the cloud, or whatever. It's just an overall view that I'm sort of thinking about, and what it's creating. Like, we could be creating a different planet, like the construct or the matrix or a software program, or who knows, but we're creating like a copy of the planet. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie WALL-E, which is a kids movie that came out quite a long time ago, and I suggest you go watch it. It's about the humans, and what they did basically is they got too messy on the planet, too much garbage, so we all had to jump on a spaceship while we had these AI, these robots down on the planet, clean up everything in order to get it back nice, spick and span for us to come back and re-inhabit it. But in the meantime, it was taking such a long time, so all the people up in the spaceship, they were slowly became screen zombies. And this was done well before Instagram was even out, well before it was really flagged as a potential problem. You need to watch it, actually. It's hard to describe without going into the full movie review. But so much to say that at the end, all the humans were basically on these floating chairs with a screen in front of them. They never looked at each other. They never had to go shopping. They never had to do anything for themselves. Things were just delivered. They'd press a button and a milkshake would arrive, and they just float around bypassing each other, not actually making eye contact, just staring at the screen and doing all their life through the screen. When I first saw that, I was like, whoa, that's really interesting. And then a few years passed and I never forgot it, because unconsciously I always referred back to it thinking, I feel like that's kind of where we're heading, you know. And this coronavirus situation, there's beautiful things coming out that are helping us cope with this isolation. It's all through the screen, it's all through social media and amazing apps or virtual reality this. It's just great. But I've also got my concerns because we're taking that next step into living through the screen and living virtually. And I don't know if I'm not really leading anywhere here. I'm just flagging something here. I want you to think about it. We need to be really careful that we don't fall too much into that. We're still these beautiful, loving, creative, sovereign beings, and we still own planet Earth, and we are connected. We are part of the trees, we're part of the earth, the sky, the whole thing. Let's not forget that and get too caught up in leaning too much or relying too much on living through the screen. Now, obviously, it's really positive in some ways for those who are in complete isolation. I mean, without it, I can't imagine how they're going to survive. I suppose I'm speaking directly to people who have children for a start. I mean, at this young age with their small minds, you know, their neuron paths are being created and it's leaving a huge dent in their upbringing that we learn and source comes from this screen. Now, that's a bit of a problem. So I guess it's about balance is what I'm suggesting here. And I've also got some little hints and nods to the conspiracy theories of life, but I won't go into all of those right now. This is more about alerting and red flagging screen zombies, and just to implant the idea that not to get too carried away and become too reliant on the screen, because in the long run it might cause us a little bit of damage, because being connected to Earth, being connected to Gaia, the whole thing is actually probably the most important part of our recovery, because disconnecting from it in the first place is probably has a lot to do with how we got into this mess in the first place. So love you guys. Have a really beautiful day.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. And if you'd like more information on Jodie and her work as a self-healing mentor, please go to www.healyou.me.